boxes now, aren't they? Completely empty. Except that
This is an educational documentary about staying safe and making the right choices by Ross Holloway and Darren Shaw.
Over the day, the children will be taking part in different activities and finding out about how to stay safe.
One of these. Anybody seen those before? Yeah, anybody got any of those? Yeah? In the garden or something? Works off of solar, doesn't it? All sunshine goes in there and it illuminates for us. Absolutely brilliant. Much, much safer, isn't it? Certainly if you've got young people or even animals and pets around.
Everyone stand in the middle. Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to describe to you different types of behaviour, and I want you to decide on your own, make your own mind up, whether you think that the behaviour is antisocial or it's acceptable. Okay, so I'm going to describe to you some different behaviour. If you think it's antisocial, stand that end. If you think it's acceptable, stand that end. If you're not sure, and there's no wrongs and rights, so don't feel embarrassed. If you're not sure, you don't know, stand in the middle. Right, so what should we have first?
Drinking alcohol.
Drinking alcohol. Is that antisocial behaviour or is it acceptable behaviour? We have a very good split here, yeah. That's fantastic, that is. Right, should we start with start with this group? Why is it antisocial? Can anyone tell me why they think it's antisocial behaviour to drink alcohol? Stephanie?
Well, it's okay for adults, but for young ones, it can damage their liver. Because when you're drinking it, it isn't actually being.
Drinking alcohol. Why do we think it's acceptable to drink alcohol?
Antisocial. It leads to antisocial behaviour, but when you're drinking it, unless you drink too much, you don't get.
That's a very good point. Drinking alcohol, there's nothing wrong with drinking alcohol as long as you drink in moderation. But it leads to antisocial behaviour if you get drunk. That's a very good answer. Yeah. Why else is it acceptable to drink alcohol? Where could it be acceptable to drink alcohol?
For you.
For young people. Where would it be acceptable to drink alcohol for young people? In the park? No. At home?
Something cheap.
At home. So, okay. The legal age for drinking alcohol is 5 years of age. You can drink alcohol if you're 5 and over. If you're over 5 years of age. But what do you think you need first to drink alcohol?
Alcohol license.
Permission.
Permission. That's a great word. Yeah, permission. So in other words, 5 is very young, but you would definitely need permission from your parents to drink alcohol. And also, you would have to make sure you wouldn't drink too much at all. Jamie, you weren't sure. Have we answered some of your...
Well, I am sure.
You are sure now? What are you sure about?
It's bad if you drink too much, but if you drink enough, if you drink
small amount?
Yeah.
Moderation, I use
it's okay.
that. It's okay. That's right. That's the lesson here is you can drink alcohol, but drinking small amounts not to get drunk. Okay, come back into the middle.
Right, what about meeting your friends outside a shop?
Meeting your friends.
Social, okay, or don't know. Oh, they all agree on this one.
Right.
Okay. Why do you think that? Why do you think that? John.
Because there's nothing wrong with seeing your friends.
Nothing wrong with seeing your friends? Of course not. They're your friends and you're not going to get up to any mischief or do anything wrong, are you? So, okay, Jamie?
As long as you don't have alcohol.
Yes, if you were drinking outside the shop, that would be antisocial, wouldn't it?
Lead to antisocial behaviour, yes.
Of how many of you there are and what's going on. What if somebody in the group started to cause a fight? What would you do?
Jamie?
Call the police.
Call the police, yeah?
What else could you do?
What can you do immediately if you're in that group?
John?
Could you just go away?
Yeah, that's the most sensible thing. Just walk away.
I'm a police officer, PC Chris Cox. I'm the antisocial behaviour coordinator for Southampton.
How do you think that you your presentation?
children have been fantastic. They've asked lots of questions. We got them obviously standing up and considering different types of behaviour. They were obviously thinking very hard of different types of behaviour, which is antisocial and which wasn't. And yeah, they come up with some very good answers. Yes.
Do you think any of them might be antisocial?
No, I think not antisocial, but I think we've made it clear to them that certain types of behaviour that they think weren't antisocial could come and become antisocial. So it's just getting the young people to think that just because they're outside a shop perhaps doing nothing wrong can quite easily escalate to being antisocial. Yes.
So you think your presentation had a very high impact?
Well, I think I obviously hope it did have a high impact, and from the questions we got asked and the understanding, I think it had a very good impact. Yes.
Thank you.
I work for Hampshire Fire and Rescue Service. I used to be a firefighter for my sins, 31 years. I retired years ago. It's used a lot. Anybody understand the word arson? Anybody know what that means? No? Does anybody know? If I say fire play, you know what that means, don't you? Because that's somebody that plays with fire. Yeah. Fire setting. Then does anybody know what that means? Fire setting. Yeah. So that's somebody who plays with fire moves on to the next stage. That's fire setting, where you actually go and light a fire. Yeah. So you've got something. You have to deliberately light a fire. So you go out of your way. You think, well, I've got a box of matches. I'm going to go and set fire to that bin. So you're fire setting. But after that, it becomes more serious, and it becomes arson, because you've deliberately gone and done that. Yeah, you could deliberately set a fire, and it's known as arson when you go and deliberately set fire to something. Yeah, and that's quite serious. Has anybody got an idea? Your hand up. How long you might get in prison for starting a fire through arson?
10 years.
10 years. Anybody else?
12 years.
12 years. Anybody else? 6. No, anyone?
Whole life.
Absolutely right, yeah. It's one of the offences, one of the most serious offences you can commit besides murder is arson, okay? And it doesn't mean you have to actually kill anyone in a fire, because you can still get life imprisonment for setting fire to something. Yeah? Because even if you endanger life, you don't actually kill someone, if you endanger their life, you get life imprisonment. Okay, so it's quite serious, yeah? So it's important to remember that. Anybody, hands up, who's ever played a match or a lighter? Yeah, to be honest, I have. I think everyone's got a fascination for fire, haven't we? Do you think? Who likes to look at fire? I do. I like to sit, because it gives you that nice. Well, you sit in your nan's, you've got a nice little log. Have you got anybody got a real fire at home? You know, a coal fire or wooden. You know, anyone got open fire? Not many people have these days, have they? But I remember when I was little, your age, I used to go around my nan's house, and we used to use a toast and fork, and we used to get a bit of bread.
Why do you think that children need to know about knife crime?
I think they're reading about it in the paper, they're hearing incidents. People talk about carrying knives, and we just need to get rid of the myths. That children need to know that if they are found to be carrying a knife out in the street, they could face 4 years imprisonment, and they don't all know that. They think it's cool, maybe. Sometimes they say it's cool, sometimes they say it's for their own protection, and some are quite frightened, so they carry a knife, but they need to know that they're not allowed to.
How effective do you think your presentation has been?
Well, they seem to like it. They talk about it afterwards. They all want to go back and show the DVD to the family and friends. So I think it's quite effective, yeah.
Thank you.
My name's Jan and I work for Childline. Does anybody know what Childline is? Yeah, Connor.
It's where if you get abused by parents or anyone else, you call them up.
Fantastic, yeah, you're right. It's a telephone helpline for children and young people. And you're exactly right, Connor. If you've been abused by your mum and dad or anybody else, you can call Childline and talk to somebody there about it. Can everybody think of anything else that you might want to call Childline about?
Cyberbullying?
Cyberbullying, absolutely, yeah. Anything else? Can't think of anything at all? No? Well, do you know what? You can call Childline about absolutely anything. If it's hurting you, or it's worrying or upsetting you, you can pick up the phone and talk to somebody. If you can't speak to a teacher about it, or you can't talk to your mum and dad, you can phone somebody at Childline.